Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Backlot Banter, your favorite box office recap show on the entire internet. I'm your host, Tanner Dykstra, joined here
At least in the top 10. Let's not overextend ourselves.
Okay, you know, it's 2024, it's a new year, Tucker. We're gonna reel in the ego of the show a little bit. Yeah. I think so. I'm Tanner Dykstra. I'm joined here by my fellow box office enthusiast, Tucker Hazel.
Ballyhooer.
Because we are, of course, talking about some box office ballyhoo for the month of January 2024. It is a new year, as I said, and
yeah, it is, isn't it?
Off to a rocky start. Off to a rocky start. Rocky start.
And you can also definitely tell that it's not only a January, but it's also a January post-strike.
Yep, 100%. And we'll be getting into all of that and the repercussions of said box office fallout. Let's say the fallout of those.
The fallout of all their good intentions.
Yeah. Well, some people's good intentions in that.
Tanner, let's take a look at the top 10 January domestic openings. Mean Girls, easy number one slot there. I mean, it's not even close.
No, not really.
The Beekeeper is over 10 million behind. Mean Girls, 28 million. Beekeeper, opening weekend, 16.5. Night Swim, couldn't even crack 17. And then, I mean, these got to be some of the lowest top 4 and 5 we ever got.
Yeah.
ISS at just over 3 million, and Book of Clarence at just over 2.5. Holy shit. And then rounding out the top 10, Queen, Rock, Montreal, and Live Aid.
It's a
never even heard of that.
It's a
documentary.
It's the live concert.
Gotcha.
Queen performances. Yes.
Didn't know that was released.
Yeah.
And then Origin, re-release of Soul, re-release of Spider-Verse. Do you know why?
Just because.
Oh, okay.
Just because.
I didn't know if there was like a celebration or a new version.
Yeah.
And My Way, it looks like was it Korean?
Chinese. It's Hong Kong.
Okay.
I believe. Actually, hang on. I was looking that up. It's set in Hong Kong. 2023 Hong Kong crime action film. Okay. It's also apparently called I Did It My Way.
Well, the logo does not. Oh, no. Maybe that's what the text says.
Yeah,
I don't
probably.
know. Can't read that.
Can't say
that language.
Yeah.
Yeah. Pretty sad. Pretty sad state of affairs. And we were looking at these movies and we're like, look, studios had so little going on this month. That Mean Girls was the massive thing. And we were thinking last year, okay, we got Megan last year. That felt like a big sort of cultural moment, quote unquote.
For sure.
And Mean Girls was that. I don't want to besmirch Mean Girls too much because it did make $28 million, which is actually higher than a lot of what movies open to nowadays.
And it's doing solidly, well, especially for the lack of films that have been coming out. We'll get to that when we talk about Mean Girls, but it's looking to, we're recording this on the Sunday of what would be the third weekend of Mean Girls.
Yeah. So we don't have those final third week statistics yet.
But it's looking to do a three-peat here at number one at the box office. It's close between that and the Beekeeper, apparently.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
Even in the domestic market.
Yeah, domestic market.
Very interesting. Very interesting.
Yeah.
But yeah, Night Swim, Beekeeper, ISS. You saw all of those top 5. I didn't go see Book of Clarence because I don't really care. Oh, and I also didn't get to see Mean Girls. Yeah. But I will because it's in number one. And I can't not do that.
Can't miss that. Yeah.
Tanner, this is going to be the first time this ever happens. And first and last time this ever happens, we got 5 for 5.
Boom.
And we did the exact same thing. I was hoping... Why is there a number here? That's weird.
I don't know.
I was hoping that you would have done something slightly different, and so I would have gotten the only 5 out of 5 ever, and then you wouldn't have, but we did the same thing. And we both got 5 out of 5 correct, which is not particularly difficult.
Not difficult at all, actually.
The list of movies that came out this month. But we did it nonetheless.
We did do it.
It goes on the books as we did it.
I mean, like, what else could you have put in there? Like, the Soul re-release, maybe? But, especially that was, I mean, we don't talk about in specific, we don't have a slide for that, but it way underperformed what Disney thought.
And we'll see what happens with Turning Red and Luca.
Yeah.
And comparisons here.
Some fine movies. I mean, broadly speaking.
Yeah, I guess, people were okay with them. It's interesting to see, actually, that there's a cluster of movies here at almost exactly 70%.
Just right on the edge of that fresh, not fresh.
No, they're all fresh. 70, I believe 60, 60
Oh,
plus
that's right.
Fresh.
Yeah, that's what the crossover is.
With Book of Clarence at a 69, Mean Girls at a 70, and Beekeeper, best movie of the month, apparently, at a 71%.
Yeah.
And then Night Swim deservedly in
way
the
down
fucking
there.
gutter.
Way down there.
And wow. I think the craziest thing to look at here is ISS at a C-. Like, what were you expecting? It was exactly what the trailer sold you on.
I don't know.
Usually, the cinema score is like, okay, did this meet people's expectations?
Yeah.
if you watch the ISS trailer...
Like, yeah, I don't know why people will be walking out of... I mean, I wasn't, like, glowing walking out of ISS, but I wasn't like, oh, what a massive disappointment. It totally underserved my expectations there.
It did exactly what it promised to, and it's not great, as we'll get to. I mean, neither of us loved that movie, but bizarre that is the one that is even lower than Night Swim.
Wow, it is.
That's actually messed up.
I mean, maybe people also kind of knew what they were getting with Night Swim.
Sure.
To a certain point.
That's fair.
But let's talk about Night Swim, Tucker. The first movie of 2024. First wide release of 2024.
Sure feels like it.
And opened to $11.7 million, nearly 11.8. Has gathered up a total of $38.4 million so far.
And I think it's basically done. I mean, it's been dropping out of theaters very quickly. It has very little appeal internationally, apparently. And because, even though there aren't really other things coming out, I think because this is just so bad, like this is a critically across-the-board panned movie, just people aren't going to see it. There's not even this is so bad you have to go see it word of mouth.
Yeah.
This is just... It's a really dumb, bad movie. Don't go see it.
Especially for horror drought. I mean, the next wide-release horror film we're getting is actually not until Blumhouse's next film, Imaginary.
Yeah. Which is when?
March 8th.
Okay. That's 2 months later.
Yeah,
no one's caring about horror.
No February horror movies, actually.
Yeah.
Interesting. I don't know. But anyway, what else do we have here? So this is actually the first production that was made after the merger between Blumhouse, Jason Blum's company, and James Wan's Atomic Monster. Yeah. They are officially merged now as of I think that the deal went through finally the week that this movie released, but this film was produced by both companies.
Yeah, and they've worked together before.
They have.
And obviously they're both primarily horror companies, though Atomic Monster does produce James Wan's other movies, so they're not exclusively I believe they were together on Megan last year.
Yeah.
So obviously they've got a thing going on. Yeah, I mean that makes sense.
Yep.
I don't really know what the benefit is to having the two companies together.
I'm not an economist. Don't ask me.
But if there's one thing we know about Jason Blum, it's that he's one of the only producers in this godforsaken business that can actually turn a profit on his movies and can responsibly budget. Night Swim, very responsibly budgeted. $15 million. Feels like it.
Yep.
But that's okay. It's a low-budget horror movie, and it made its budget back and then some.
It did.
And I'm sure it didn't have $15 million in marketing.
I mean, he clearly saw, as I have the bottom here, this is based off of a 2014 proof of concept short film by the director, Bryce McGuire.
Yeah.
I mean, Jason Blum saw that. He's like, yeah, we can make that for $15 million.
Yes.
Make a decent profit on that.
Yeah, because people are dumb and they'll go see a horror movie, especially when nothing else is coming out.
Yeah.
But it wasn't big. I mean, we've seen some horror movies in the past Januaries, Megan last year, Insidious movies, that are a lot bigger than this. This is just, it's not related to an IP. The closest that we get is in the trailer, it says from the producers of Megan.
Yeah.
If that's what's really like selling your movie, and the idea is like not particularly compelling, it makes sense that this is
when the idea is haunted pool, I don't think you're going to get a lot of butts and seats, frankly.
But the real example of that being the fact that it didn't blow up is that it was second place in its own opening weekend. In Wonka's week 4.
Yeah,
and
week
also,
4 for Wonka.
And also the fact that Wonka jumped back up to number 1 in week 4 after the release of multiple other Warner Brothers movies after it. Shows the strength of Wonka, and we'll actually be talking a little bit about the holds later on when we get to Last Time On. But yeah, I mean, this is just nothing. It adds nothing.
Yeah,
it's just a factoid that this released.
It is. Well, I mean, Tucker, we're gonna have a lot of movies that seem and feel like they're adding nothing really to the cinematic diet. I mean, the one that gets closest is something like Mean Girls, that we have up here next.
Because people's actually been talking about this.
People have been talking about this.
Buzz online.
Yes. One thing that people have been talking about, especially at the time of release, was a poll that came out similar to the Cinema Score polling that happens, where 75% of opening weekend audiences knew it was a musical.
Yeah.
Which is, decent. But you also have to look at the flip side of that. 25%, 1/4 of people who went to go see this film opening weekend did not know it was a musical.
Nope. I mean, I did because I'm a sicko.
Yeah.
I didn't even go see this movie.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, I mean, I think there was also a article written that was like interviewing the head of marketing over at Paramount, who the production company behind this film, who said that like, yeah, we did not push that it was a musical in the marketing, because musicals have a very shoddy sort of reception when it comes to wider audiences.
No, yeah, it's very interesting when you think about the wide release theatrical musicals that have released post-pandemic. They're few and far between, but actually between this and the month before, we got 3 within 1 month. Wonka, Color Purple, and Mean Girls, all musicals. And the only one I can think of before that, oh gosh, what was the summer one?
In the Heights.
In the Heights, yeah. And,
In the Heights, In the Heights did well. West Side Story did not.
No, it didn't.
Color Purple did not. Wonka's doing very well.
Yes, it is.
And Mean Girls is doing fine.
But the only one of those, I mean, other than the cultural knowledge that West Side Story is a musical, the only one of those that received marketing indicating it was a musical was the one that
In the Heights.
In the Heights. Yes. I forgot the name of it, and then you had to remind me again. And that was also a day-and-date HBO Max one, I believe.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's very interesting. But it does show with Wonka's success and Mean Girls' success that there is appetite for musicals.
Yeah.
And so I'm hoping that this means that we will get more musicals. Even though I'm not the biggest fan, I do like that the theatrical marketplace is being diversified somewhat.
Yep.
We're having multiple musicals come out. We're having multiple rom-coms come out.
Right.
And that they can make that a thing.
Yeah. I mean, the true test will be when Joker Folie à Deux comes out. If will they be marketing the musical aspect of that?
They have to, right?
I don't know.
They gotta.
It'd be pretty funny if they didn't, though.
Oh man,
it'd be pretty funny.
Holy shit! Yeah, that is really.
Time will tell. Time will tell, I suppose.
Yeah,
but
this is a successful movie. $36 million budget, very responsibly budgeted, and I think that the greatest thing about Mean Girls is that it was supposed to go straight to Paramount Plus.
Yeah, that sounds right.
And then it went to theaters, and it's making them money.
It is making them money.
So we're watching this happen, and we're watching some other movies that were supposed to do that last year. There's a couple. Smile was supposed to be that a couple years ago. That these movies are actually being released in theaters. There was a bit of news the other day that a Daisy Ridley movie that was supposed to go straight to Disney Plus is now in conversation to go to theaters. And I'm like,
Monkey Man as well.
Oh, great. Yes, that's exactly the thing. And it feels like we're healing.
Yeah,
it's like,
yes, we're getting
if you
there.
don't put these movies onto streaming, there won't be the expectation that they will be on streaming from day one, and people will go to theaters to see them, and you'll make money. And so the studios are finally recovering, and I think that we'll reach a point. Also, Coyote versus Acme.
Yes,
we'll
Coyote
probably
versus Acme.
Get that.
Yes.
At some point.
I mean, as long as we're talking about it, one headline that I didn't put in the headline section, but we probably should talk about it since we're on the topic, is the head of Netflix recently stepped down, Scott something.
Yeah, I don't know.
Scott Netflix.
Yeah.
And he
every time someone becomes a head of Netflix, they have to change their last name.
Yeah, it's a lineage, it's a heritage.
So there's no confusion.
Yeah. But he stepped down, and he his sort of last action before walking out the door was sort of this directive being like, we are going to make less movies.
Yeah.
Because many people in the industry have noted Netflix is the kind of company. They are making the most movies out of any studio in Hollywood.
Yeah.
And acquiring the most movies.
Almost 2 movies a week?
Yeah, it's crazy.
At least one.
And I mean they're just burning money at that point. And it's sort of his last directive walking out the door was like, we're going to make less movies, we're going to focus on not just making a conveyor belt of constant content, but maybe putting a little more extra time and care in the originals that we do make.
And it'll be interesting to see if Netflix eventually tips into doing theatrical runs for their movies, because some of their competitors, obviously, companies like Warner Brothers and Paramount are making these decisions to put their movies out into theaters, just period, make them theatrical films.
Yeah.
But even Apple and Amazon are very good at that.
Yeah.
Air, Napoleon, Killers of the Flower Moon.
Yep.
These movies are getting full theatrical releases.
I mean,
those movies have other problems. Those studios have other problems.
Yes.
But the fact that Apple and Amazon, who have their own streaming services, are comfortable with, obviously they're working with Scorsese and Ridley Scott, but that they're like, yeah, this is going to be a full theatrical release thing. I hope that Netflix eventually reaches that, and I hope it's before Knives Out 3 happens.
I hope so too.
Because can you imagine? I saw Glass Onion in the theaters.
So did I.
Oh, okay, cool.
Yeah.
But man, you gotta do it, Netflix.
Well, okay. Sorry. Back to Mean Girls. Refocusing on Mean Girls here. Also, the highest scored film that we have a score for, a personal score for this year, this month. Yeah,
this year so far.
Yeah, and this year. Good point, Tucker. Because I did a solo review for this. Give it a 5.2. It's a fine movie. But also, I thought this was interesting. In week 3, which is the weekend that we're in, it's tracking to make about $6.7 million, and that would be the lowest grossing number 1 film since Top Gun Maverick re-released in September 2022.
And I assume, because under what you said earlier, that it's sort of neck and neck with the Beekeeper,
it would be the same thing.
It would be it would still be the lowest.
Yes.
Well, yeah, and again, this is great for Mean Girls because it has no competition except for the Beekeeper, but it's still pretty handily meeting the Beekeeper.
Yeah.
But this is just the fact that no one else is putting out movies because all the movies started getting delayed and all started getting pushed. $6.7 million should not be the number 1.
No, it shouldn't. It really shouldn't.
This should be number 4 or 5, and it's week 3.
But yeah, this was the movie that finally dethroned Wonka, and has held the number 1 spot for potentially 3 weekends now. There's some speculation that with the I want to do a little sports talk here with the AFC NFC championships today, that a more female focused film could take that top spot with Sunday audiences.
Yeah. Mean Girls musical is like the first act. It feels like the actual first movie of 2021. I mean, it's our 2024. Yeah. Jesus, 2021. I didn't even say 2023.
You're way off.
I wasn't even close. It's getting online buzz. It's making solid
money.
There's
a lot of people.
It's well received.
There is a lot of buzz about this film. Not, I'd say pretty solidly negative, or negative in the way of like, the teens making fun of this, being like, oh, the Broadway musical sounds so much better. What's her name? Andrea Rice being like, she can't really sing, da-da-da-da-da. But also people going to go see it. Yeah. People being, very celebratory of people like Renee Rapp in this film, or Avantika in this film as well. So,
and another great thing about this, and again, shortly circling back to the straight to streaming theatrical thing, when this movie hits Paramount Plus, this is going to be a massive streaming movie. This is going to be massive on VOD. People are going to be buying this. This is going to live forever, especially now that it is getting the buzz that it has because it was in theaters. So it's just all around a good thing for the theatrical marketplace, because this is the only movie making a bunch of money right now.
Yeah.
It's in the domestic market.
Yes.
Because the Beekeeper, even though it opened to almost half of what Mean Girls did, I think it's China. But like... Yeah. Someone overseas gives a lot of a shit about the Beekeeper and has made almost $80 million. I think it is pretty safe to say it'll cap out at just over 100.
Yeah.
Worldwide, not domestic.
Yeah,
certainly not domestic.
This is the highest grossing film of 2024 at the worldwide box office.
Yeah.
So a whole thing together, this is the highest grossing film of 2024. Also has the highest Rotten Tomatoes of a wide release in 2024.
That's true. Yeah.
So Beekeeper's the biggest success of the year.
Yeah. Well, we've got Argyle coming soon.
That's true, Tucker.
We actually have a lot of actual movies coming soon.
Yeah. We're ramping up to real movies finally.
But yeah, the Beekeeper, it just really interesting to note that it is so heavily skewed internationally rather than domestically, because it just seems like people are just like, over here, and good. I mean, I don't think this is a good movie. In fact, I think it's a bad movie. And so, but the fact that it's making money is good for the theatrical marketplace. And so I hope that... I believe that David Ayer said that he's doing another movie pretty soon.
Yeah, I have that. Another movie or another...
the possibility of Beekeeper sequels.
Yeah, he's doing another... He's teased the possibility of sequels, but also Jason Statham isn't big on sequels. Mm-hmm. Like, he doesn't do a lot of sequels to his own work.
The Meg, Expendables.
Yeah. I mean, Tucker, you spoiled it a little bit, but I was going to say, this arrives after Statham had a 4-film run in 2023.
Oh, man.
I was going to ask.
2, Expendables, and...
What, can you name the other 2? Meg 2, Expendables 4.
Did I see them?
Yes, you saw them.
I saw both of them?
Yes.
Oh.
Wait, no. You didn't see one in theaters, but I believe you did watch it on your computer.
Oh, Operation Fortune.
Operation Fortune. Big one. Big. I mean, this is an ensemble cast film. Early summer.
This does not help. I mean, I guess it should help, but
massively.
Oh, of course, he was in Fast X.
Fast X, that's
barely.
Right. Yeah,
barely in Fast X.
And those 4 films combined did make Jason Statham a $1 billion star in 2024 or 2023.
And now he's got The Beekeeper, which is the highest grossing movie of January, but will be quickly surpassed by other things and forgotten about.
Yeah. It also appears to be his only project coming out this year.
Crazy.
After 4 films in 2023.
But, he's got enough money. Just let him take a break for a little bit.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Relax, Jason.
He actually is making another film. I'm not sure if David Ayer is directing it. Let me pull it up. Actually, it's like his Taken. It sounds like.
Oh yeah, I remember you talking about that.
Levon's Trade. I forget what it is, but is it
Levon's Trade?
Yeah, David Ayer. Okay, so they're working together again.
Sure, and I guess it'll probably be a next year movie.
Next year, probably. It's in pre-production right now.
Yeah, I did want to give a shout out to David Ayer's previous film, The Tax Collector, which was released in 2020 and was number 1 at the box office in its opening weekend because it was 2020. And if you look at the movies that were number 1 at the box office in 2020, it is a smorgasbord of horse shit. And Tax Collector feels like that. So David Ayer is on the up and up.
He really is. Look at 18% to 71% on Rotten Tomatoes.
That's actually a fucking massive jump.
Yeah. I mean, Chuckle, we could see Levon's Trade, maybe have 120% of Rotten Tomatoes on at this rate.
Yeah, nothing else to talk about The Beekeeper. It's just an action movie that's making money primarily overseas.
Yeah.
And if there's Beekeeper sequels, I'll see them.
We will see them.
Bequels. The Bequels. Tanner.
Yes.
What's up next? The Book of Clarence. I almost didn't want to put this on there.
Yeah.
Because I didn't see it and I don't really care. But it was one of the top 5, so we got to put it in there.
That's right. So, with the Book of Clarence, this debuted to number 10 in its opening weekend.
That's insane.
Very, very poorly received. I mean, widely speaking. It has a 69% on Rotten Tomatoes, a B cinema score for people who did go to see this. It was originally dated for release.
Very, very poorly received by Tanner Dykstra and company.
Originally dated for September of last year. And yes, opened to 2.5, has only made a paltry $5.2 million so far.
Yeah, what's going to be interesting talking about both ISS and Book of Clarence is that these movies opened to a very dry market, and so you would assume that people would just go see them regardless. Mm-hmm. But I think that they are a pretty good indication of that's not true.
No,
you have to put out a movie that brings people to theaters and has some sort of draw. And I'm sorry, James Samuel and Lakeith Stanfield, you're not box office draws.
No, I mean it's also a fact of who is this film for? So it's a faith-based film in so many words, in that it is like a biblical epic, but it also has a very clear satirical bent to it.
It's the modern day life of Brian.
Well, having seen the movie, it's also not. It's not completely parody satire. It also is quite a bit of, earnest, religious, epic stuff. So it's a very strange mix that just doesn't appeal to any market.
It's Life of Brian meets The Robe. But also, neither of those styles of movies are very popular nowadays.
Exactly.
And I think that's really why the Book of Clarence is tanking as hard as it is. And it's not like James Samuel's not a good director, and that Lakeith Stanfield's not a star that I like. But theatrically, especially, I'm glad they put it out in theaters and tried. But these kind of, especially this era of period piece, is not something we see in theaters nowadays. Right. I only saw the trailer twice. I mean, they really didn't market it very much.
I mean,
none of it is paying off. What effort they put in is not paying off because an opening of 2.5 is fucking abysmal. I mean, debuting at number 10, its opening weekend, is only as crazy as it is because we actually have a bunch of great movies that are holding very well.
Yeah.
But no international market. I don't even know if it's going to be released internationally.
I mean, it wouldn't really even help with a budget of $40 million on this thing.
No.
Yeah.
But again, that's the problem. That's a reasonably responsible budget.
Yeah, it's fine. There's just not the audience for it, apparently.
Yeah, and the really unfortunate thing is, even though I like James Samuel as a director, The Harder They Fall was very fun on Netflix. This is not going to help him get work.
No.
You make a $40 million budget movie, and it's probably not even crack 10 total.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
I believe, I just had to refresh my memory here. It was bumped from September 2022 September 22nd of 2023. Dumb Money took that spot, and so Sony just kicked this to January to let it die.
Yeah, it probably would have opened a little bit better.
Yeah, I mean, not that Dumb Money did especially well either.
No, actually, kind of similarly. Yeah, but better than this.
Better than this.
Yeah.
Bad stuff.
Yeah, bad stuff.
Bad stuff all around. Okay, and Tucker, ISS, the final wide release of January 2024.
Yeah.
Because
even though there was over an entire full week left in January.
Yes, that's right. We are in the final weekend of January 2024, and Miller's Girl came out. That's not a wide release, so this is it. This is how the month ended.
Yeah, and I will say that there is one extenuating factor here that I think did contribute to this. This was a record cold blizzard.
Yes,
cold
that's right.
Shit across the entire country.
Yeah.
Which we were kind of the only people that went to the theater at all on the opening night. And I mean, even on the weakest box office weekends, we see plenty of people in the theaters. There's people in the fucking lines. Mm-hmm. We see them milling around. We were the only people in our theater for ISS.
Yep.
No one cares.
No one cares.
and it just did not help ISS being released on specifically this weekend. And it also just, like, if ISS was one of 3 wide releases in its weekend, it's like, yeah, okay, whatever, we got some other stuff. But, like, it really just shines a spotlight on this being a very, very poor month and puts ISS, I think, in a worse light.
Yeah.
Because that was the big opening movie of its weekend.
It was. My birthday weekend.
And finished number 7.
Finished number 7.
Better than Book of Clarence.
It did, yes. Better than Book of Clarence. Book of Clarence, though, also did release on a weekend with 2 other wide release films.
Sure. Yeah.
This was the only thing in its field on January 19th. Finished 7th behind a underperformer, notoriety underperformer like Aquaman and the Lost Kingdom.
Yeah.
But yes, I also looking into some production on ISS because otherwise box office info is scarce for this film. It was included, the script for this by Nick Shafir was included on the Blacklist, which is a sort of yearly list that comes out from Hollywood writers that's like, these are the best unproduced scripts that sort of were thrown out there this year. So this was on that list. Eventually did get picked up by Bleecker Street.
Yeah.
And this is what resulted.
Yeah, and here's the thing, is I think this could get an international release. It has no international so far, but if it does, and it picks up about this much, it still will be an underperformer, but with a budget of $13.8 million, I mean, that is tiny.
It's tiny. Very small, yes.
And frankly, looks amazing for that budget.
Yeah, I noted to you, a couple days after we saw it, I was like, you gotta take for granted, but like the effects of like floating in 0G in the ISS, it was like really good.
And not even just that, but like, when the Earth is burning down below, and like when we're outside the ISS, these are they're not like the best special effects you've ever seen, but like totally believable. Totally
100%. Nothing wrong with it.
And again, also points to the fact that movies, especially even with a lot of special effects, visual effects, and practical effects, can be done for significantly less than they're being done for. $13.8 million. You extrapolate that out a little bit more for a bigger movie having bigger stars that you need to pay, and maybe a little bit wider for cast, but you can responsibly budget a movie. It's very, very unfortunate that ISS does not show that can be profitable.
Yeah,
it really should have been. Yeah. I mean, even if this made $35 million, it would be profitable.
Absolutely.
But you have to give them flowers where it's due. Yeah. This is amazingly budgeted, and again, paid off in spades for them in terms of how it looks and how it feels. Yeah, it looks sells great. Itself very well.
Speaking of stars, I had to note here, I did the same for Jason Statham a little bit earlier, so I just kind of looked into the star power of Ariana DeBose. This is the first of 4 films from her releasing this year. Tucker, can you name those?
No, I don't know. Of course I can't.
ISS.
I can do Argyle.
Argyle.
Can you do those?
My ex-friend's wedding.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, I've heard of that.
And hang on. This is also her, unfortunately, her 3rd straight box office flop.
Yeah, because is the only thing she's done before this Wish and
West Side Story.
West Side Story.
Yeah.
Yeah, and at least those are higher profile movies.
100%. Yeah.
West Side Story got buzz in some areas, and Wish is a box office flop, but it is a Disney animated picture, and she's the main character.
Kraven the Hunter.
Oh, that's right. She is in Kraven. That's right. Yeah. And I gotta be honest here.
Yeah.
She's in for 3 more flops. Unless Argyle is somehow fucking massive.
Yeah.
But also, Argyle cost $200 million to make. So our God needs to make like $550 million.
No, there's no fucking way.
So I'm sorry, Ariana DeBose. Literally none of the projects you've picked for maybe the first 3 years of your career are gonna make any money.
Yeah.
I hope she's getting paid somewhere. Somehow,
yeah,
because she's good in all the movies. She's actually very good in. She's amazing in West Side Story.
Of course, she got an Oscar.
She's one of the best parts of Wish in terms of her vocal performance, and she's a great lead in ISS. Yeah, no problems at all. We'll see how good she is in Argyle this upcoming week.
We'll check it out. All right, Tucker, you teased us a little bit earlier. Last time on Backlot Banter, the December movies are faring actually quite well,
fantastically.
Yeah. So obviously we've been talking about it. Wonka is is a smash hit.
Yeah. It's number 8 for 2023 releases in terms of highest grossing domestically, bumping Taylor Swift The Eras Tour off the list and bumping down both John Wick Chapter 4 and Sound of Freedom.
Yep.
Wonka, to our surprise, because we didn't have a ton of faith in Wonka.
We did not.
We actually notoriously had negative faith in Wonka. Wonka is the holiday holding movie of 2023.
It really is.
We could have maybe expected a couple months before that it was going to be Aquaman. Okay, that first movie made $1 billion, held very well to next January. But sometimes there's a surprise, like Wonka and a couple years before Greatest Showman.
Oh, sure, yeah.
And the Jumanji movies did that, and then of course Spider-Man and Star Wars and Avatar. There always are these movies
that just hold out for weeks and weeks.
They just keep on going. Yeah. But it's not the only one.
No, it's not.
And none of these movies are on the level of Star Wars, Spider-Man, Avatar, Jumanji. But Aquaman is holding fine, particularly overseas. It's not holding very well domestically.
I believe, if memory serves, has a budget of $205 million, so has doubled its budget.
It has doubled its budget. Of course, this movie probably had an even bigger marketing campaign.
Oh, 100%.
So I don't think it's profitable yet, but it might if it keeps holding overseas, especially.
It's performing far better than a lot of the other DCEU films.
Yeah, it's actually the highest grossing DC movie since Aquaman.
Whoa!
Yes.
Congratulations, Aquaman.
Which, again, Aquaman to Aquaman, yeah. Which is, again, not big competition, though, because we're talking about Flash, Blue Beetle, Shazam, Black Adam, The Suicide Squad, 1984, Birds of Prey.
All these flops.
Yeah, all of them flops. Yes. All of them massive flops. And also, shout out to Dan Murrell, who does a very similar show to this. He did the calculations, and Warner Brothers on the entire DCEU lost like $1.2 billion or something ridiculous like that. But this is like one of the only
Thankfully, Tucker, when they reset the universe, that debt just gets wiped.
No.
What?
But Aquaman, I don't want to give it flowers because I don't like the movie.
Fair.
But there are 2 other movies that held very well from this holiday season.
I mean, anyone but you
and Migration are doing great holds.
Anyone but you, I think especially I want to point out because when we talked about it, it was like, yeah, I mean, it didn't perform very well when we talked about it, in week 3 of its release.
Yeah.
But it's held, word of mouth has grown.
Yep.
And it is now, I believe, the highest grossing R-rated rom-com since whatever the most recent Bridget Jones' Diary was.
Oh, yeah, Bridget Jones' Baby.
Yes,
in 2016, I think?
Yeah.
That's pretty impressive.
Yeah, I mean, look, it's really impressive what the word of mouth has done for anyone but you.
Yeah, and on a $25 million budget, this is a massively profitable movie.
Absolutely.
And again, we were kind of waffling on it initially. We're like, because at the point of week 3, it hadn't broken even.
Yep.
It absolutely has now.
Yes.
It has great word of mouth. And Sydney Sweeney, Glenn Powell, rom-coms are all going to get a massive boost from this.
Absolutely.
And I mean, thank you. Thank God this is happening.
100%. And then Tucker, Migration also doing quite well. Has doubled since we last talked about, or nearly doubled, excuse me.
Nearly doubled. It'll probably get close to doubling. I think that maybe has like another 20 million in the can or whatever.
Yeah.
But this is now a profitable movie for Illumination, and it is no longer their lowest grossing movie. It was, at the last time we talked about it, it was below Hop, which was, I believe, like their first movie.
Yep.
And now it's above that. But this movie only cost $72 million to make. And again, you want to talk about responsibly budgeting things, we talk about how good Illumination and DreamWorks are at budgeting their movies, especially compared to Disney and Pixar.
Yeah.
Who spent $200 million and $205 million on Elemental and Wish.
Yes.
$72 million for Migration. This is a profitable film at over $200 million. Yeah, they made money on this. I don't think it'll get a sequel.
No.
But Migration continues Illumination just putting out movies that hold well, people enjoy. Migration's not their massive hit, but it is in our hearts.
Exactly.
It's
beloved.
by far my favorite Illumination
Affairs.
movie.
Yeah.
And I think you said it was for you
Absolutely,
as well.
100%.
And I no longer have to be like, okay, I love Migration, but it was a flop.
Yeah.
Migration is just a comfortably it's
a success.
It's a comfortably successful animated kids film.
Yeah, 100%. Okay, and Tugger.
And then there's
the train stops. Yeah. The train stops when it comes to The Color Purple.
4 December movies holding. Oh, and Color Purple. What happened here?
It really it's perplexing, frankly.
And we want to talk about a movie with a budget that's too high. This cost $100 million.
Yeah.
And it's made $62 million. That is under $100 million if you're doing the math.
Yes.
It's also under what you would assume I doubt this had a $100 million marketing budget. But
I mean, as you noted when we talked about it last month, I mean, where was the marketing for this film?
Yeah, the trailer actually showed for a long time. Yeah. We saw it for the first time around when Little Mermaid was coming out in May. But maybe 2 trailers for this movie over the course of, 9 months?
Yeah.
Pretty crazy. But all across the board, just a giant money loser. Yeah. Giant money loser. And also there's been some weird things that are coming out about it from behind the scenes. Like the stars didn't get their own changing rooms and stuff. What the fuck happened?
I had noted that when we talked about it.
Where'd the budget go? If you aren't doing that for your stars.
I mean, it had a similar budget to something like Barbie, and of course I noted this when we talked about it, is like the cast for that just has entirely different stories with all the the pampering, if I can use that word. And just a different story for the Color Purple cast.
Yep.
So, all right. Tucker, let's do a little month versus month comparison here.
Ooh.
Love doing this because if we take a look-see here...
At the 5 movies we reviewed from last January.
Yeah.
Last January was kind of an awesome month. What the hell?
It was really good,
actually. What the heck?
I mean, even you look at, Plane. The Plane was the worst movie we talked about last time.
Hey, Plane feels like a January 2024 movie.
Hell yeah, it does. I mean... if we want a bit of a comp here, like Beekeeper Plane or ISS Plane, you just look at the difference.
Megan Mean Girls,
or maybe probably Megan Night Swim, or maybe you want to do Night Swim Infinity Pool,
or Missing. Who the hell knows? It doesn't really matter.
Yeah.
But I think of January's as the dumping ground, a lot of shit.
Yeah,
never
dumptuary.
Good. But last year we saw 4 movies that we actually enjoyed to love.
Yeah.
Which is crazy. And then also even crazier in contrast to a movie where there were no movies we liked or loved. The highest is an okay movie in Mean Girls.
Yeah.
And then I also just for fun decided to compare it to January 2022. We didn't review either of these movies, but there were only 2 wide releases in January of 2022, which is, frankly, this month is better than that.
Yeah.
Not on an average, actually, because Scream 5 is actually a good movie.
Yeah.
But Scream 5 and the 355 were the only major releases that month, and I had a 5. So I just thought it'd be funny to throw that in the mix.
Yeah, that's good.
Just, again, to highlight, last year's January was pretty goddamn good.
It was pretty good, actually. I mean, it really was.
Okay, Tanner.
Yes.
Let's round out this video by talking about the headlines, and what a busy goddamn month
this was. As you've noted to me a couple times, there was a lot of movie news.
Though I actually did kind of figure out what it was. It's probably Sundance. I mean, people getting interviewed, people talking to other production companies, and what are we going to pick up? Well, what are you working on next? And that news just comes out. But yeah, we got a pretty packed month here.
Okay, so we'll try to move through this at a relatively quick clip here. Some big news to start off. I mean, Martin Scorsese has announced his next film, which is going to be a roughly 80-minute film about Jesus, and it's set to begin production in a couple months, actually.
Yeah, and so we'll see it in 2025, probably.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah,
cool.
Crazy.
I love the idea of Martin Scorsese kind of going back on what he has done the last couple, which is just longer and longer and longer.
Yeah.
Silence, very long.
Yes.
Wolf of Wall Street, very long. Irishman, very long. Killer's very long. 80-minute Jesus movie. I mean, didn't you already do one of those? Number 1.
Fair.
But number 2, great. Cool.
Yeah, awesome.
I mean,
cool
I'm sure this won't be very expensive.
No.
So, awesome.
Yeah.
Do we know who's Jesus?
People have been speculating that Andrew Garfield, having recently dropped out of Guillermo del Toro's Frankenstein film, is maybe going to be in this, which would be cool. They obviously collaborated on Silence.
Yeah. That would be an awesome combination. Yeah. But Tanner, we also got a Star Wars movie announced.
That's true. A new Mandalorian/Grogu film directed by Jon Favreau has been announced. This is under the creative directorship of Dave Filoni, who is now the creative director of Star Wars.
Bizarre, interesting.
Yeah.
As someone who is entirely disconnected from modern Star Wars stuff that's been on Disney Plus.
Yeah.
I'm not quite sure where this lands in terms of, okay, this is a continuation of The Mandalorian season 1 through 3? 3, and some of the other stories that are tied in
and like
there.
associated like Book of Boba Fett and Ahsoka and stuff like that. Yeah.
But there's apparently still also a season 4 coming, or maybe this is a replacement for season 4.
Unclear.
And then how does this factor into the Dave Filoni Mandoverse movie?
Yeah, the film that's also coming out.
Whatever. I just want to see a Star Wars movie come out.
I would love that too. I would love to see a new Star Wars movie.
Tanner, we're going on 5 years without a Star Wars movie.
Hey, that's fine. You know, I honestly, if you asked me back in 2019, I would have said probably wouldn't have taken this long.
Oh, absolutely not. Yeah. But I also think Jon Favreau back in the saddle, working on some CGI horse shit.
Yep.
He's been involved with some of the other Disney Plus stuff.
Yeah, he's directed an episode here and there.
But he also notoriously doesn't like doing this, so how the fuck... how did he let himself get roped back into this? He's got plenty of money.
He's addicted to the check, baby. He's
bizarre.
Addicted to the check.
It does seem like that.
Big news. Big news. From the big man himself, Tom Cruise. Big Cruise. Tom Cruise has signed a deal to produce and star in several original/franchise films for Warner Brothers Discovery.
We'll see about that. I'm going to be honest, we'll see about that.
Yeah.
Not only because he has multiple films already in production with Paramount, but because Zaslav is on the rocks of, is he going to sell or break up Warner Brothers? What's the future of Warner Brothers going to be? If this happens, it'll be great for Warner Brothers. I assume that these movies will be cool and great and hopefully make money. But these are several movies. You can see some of these movies being like 12 years from now in terms of when they actually release.
Tom Cruise is 60, I think 61 even maybe now, so
we'll see.
We'll see.
Interesting news, but we'll see.
Related, we'll skip down a couple here. Paramount has tapped the co-writer of Top Gun Maverick, Aaron Kruger, to pen a script for Top Gun 3.
Cheesin'. That makes me cheese.
Yeah.
That's fucking awesome.
I mean, honestly, like, I was like, okay, all right. I don't know if you can recapture the magic again.
Maybe.
But we'll see. We will see.
Why not try, though? We still always have Top Gun Maverick, and if we get Top Gun Maverick, and it's fucking amazing.
Top Gun Tubrick?
Then we get 2 awesome movies.
Yeah.
All we can hope is that they get Kaczynski back, though.
Yeah, that's important.
He's the magic.
Yeah.
You cannot do that without him.
Yeah. More Warner Brothers Discovery stuff. They're making a remake of The Blob. Surprise.
You know what? Awesome.
Yeah.
I like that we're getting modern monster movies now, and there's actually a bunch coming up. I mean, technically, Universal's doing a Dracula's Daughter thing with Abigail.
Yeah.
There's Chloe Zhao's doing a Dracula. We're getting a Nosferatu. We're getting a Frankenstein. I love it. This is awesome. Why not The Blob?
Why not The Blob?
I like, to a certain amount, all 3 past Blob movies.
Gotcha, yeah.
For those of you who aren't aware, there was obviously The Blob with
Steve McQueen.
And then there was a follow-up called Beware the Blob, which is way worse, but it's still kind of fun.
And then the 80s remake.
Yeah. And it's been a long goddamn time.
It has been.
And imagine with modern effects. Hey,
I mean, I would say that the effects of the Blob has never looked bad.
No. Well, I mean, sometimes it looks like jelly because it literally was jelly.
Yeah.
But
anyway, more Warner Brothers Discovery news. Actually, Mickey 17. This is sad news. Has been delayed indefinitely.
Yeah, what that really means is they'll probably get like a November release.
Yeah, they're probably swapping this to be an awards player for this coming Oscar season. That's obviously directed by Bong Joon-ho, starring Robert Pattinson. Which means Godzilla X Kong has been moved to March 29th. It's been moved forward a couple weeks, actually.
But, and that means it's kind of we're kind of spreading out that cluster of big releases, which is good.
Yes. Warner Bros. Discovery, again, has acquired Paul Thomas Anderson's new film, which stars Sean Penn, Regina Hall, and Leonardo DiCaprio. Filming is currently underway there. Early speculation/rumors have indicated that this is apparently PTA's most commercial film, whatever that means.
Okay.
Perhaps less like a Licorice Pizza or a Inherent Vice, something that's more appealing to mass audiences, but time will tell, of course. And that it's a contemporary setting. It's shooting in California, so maybe the budget will be relatively small for this one as well.
Yeah.
I mean, and with big stars, I mean, Leonardo DiCaprio in this too. I'm very excited to see what this is. Unclear if we'll be seeing this this year. I kind of doubt it.
No, if it's filming right now, well, I don't know.
It could be.
No, I think it could be because I mean, this isn't like there's going to be a ton of post-production special effects or anything on this, and you assume Paul Thomas Anderson would want this to be an awards player.
I would say, for sure.
So I could see this being. Frankly, I'd be shocked if this was a wide release thing.
Yeah.
Hopefully it is.
Yeah.
But yeah, I see in October, November for this.
Okay, sounds good. Well, time will tell. Time will tell. Further sort of remake, reboot, sequel news. David Koepp, I believe is how you say that, who is the writer on the original Jurassic Park film, has apparently started to write a script for a Jurassic World reboot.
Now, I did not hear the word reboot.
Yeah.
I just heard another Jurassic Park movie.
It's unclear, but...
I just heard reboot in terms of returning to a different tone.
Yes.
And also probably not continuing the direct story of the Jurassic World trilogy.
Yes.
So I don't think it's like literally Jurassic Park 1 remade.
No, I chose the word
universe.
I choose the word reboot as in like we're rebooting the franchise, not like it's a remake of the first film or anything like that. We're just doing a different Jurassic World story.
But the news is that this is going to be more akin to that first movie, maybe having a little bit of a horror tint to it.
Yeah.
Great, awesome.
And also shooting for a 2025 release date.
No, it's not going to hit that. Are you fucking kidding me?
No, they said it will. They said it will.
What are you doing? How did they make this mistake? Like honest to God. Okay, you're like, okay, we've got a guy writing a script.
Yep.
How do you possibly have the movie ready in 18 months? A movie like this. How does that possibly happen?
I mean, if it is going to be smaller, then maybe they're not doing a Jurassic World thing.
Maybe. Actually, hey. Then maybe that's like a horror Jurassic Park smaller movie.
Yeah, could be.
Okay.
Could be.
Maybe.
David F. Sandberg is going to direct an Until Dawn film adaptation.
Okay,
fair.
Which means a horror movie.
Yeah, horror movie.
Which will be interesting to see because the appeal of what's the company that makes Until Dawn? I don't remember off the top of my head.
What is it?
But the
Silver Dunes? No, is it something like that?
No, you're thinking of Platinum Dunes, which makes the like Friday the 13th remake and stuff.
Oops.
That's Michael Bay's production company.
Right.
No, but whatever it is,
yeah.
Their games the appeal of them is that there are multiple branching storylines based on
to choose your own adventure.
We played The Quarry just a couple of years ago. Yeah. It's just a horror movie, but you can take multiple paths. And so this is just going to be a horror movie called Until Dawn.
Yep.
Which is fine. Okay, whatever. I don't mind that. I do like the idea of us getting more video game adaptations.
Yeah.
And we don't see many horror ones.
No.
Except for Five Nights at Freddy's, which we just got. And so
I guess
they're... What?
Massive hit.
Yeah, and also we got Bendy and the Ink Machine coming up.
Yeah, what?
Bendy and the Ink Machine.
Huh?
Film adaptation.
Okay, that thing. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
But if Until Dawn is reasonably budgeted and has what they usually do for these games / this game is a cool cast of sort of B-tier actors getting killed off. Hey, this could be kind of sick.
It could be fun. We'll check it out.
A modern day slasher.
And David F. Sandberg, what horror movie did he direct before Shazam?
Annabelle Creation.
That's right. Yeah. Thank you. Let's see what else. Richard Linklater's Hitman, which is a much beloved film out of some film festivals, was acquired by Netflix, has now been dated for a June 7th premiere on the streaming platform.
I just wish Richard Linklater had the power to say no.
Yeah.
I don't want my movie to go straight to Netflix.
Yeah. I mean, they also put out a teaser for it. Looks pretty fun. But we'll be watching it. Wish I was watching it in the theater.
Yeah.
Sony, Warner Brothers, and Universal are all in a bidding war for a Michael B. Jordan, directed by Ryan Coogler, vampire film. That's all we know about it.
This also makes me cheesing.
Yeah.
Because apparently it's like $90 million budget, so not too big, but big enough to where you think, and especially because all these companies are bidding over it, that they see something in it that could be really popular. Ryan Coogler has not missed yet. He's made all financially successful movies. Michael B. Jordan, great star. If you're a monster sicko like me, a Ryan Coogler vampire movie with a $90 million budget.
I mean, I have to imagine it's like Michael B. Jordan is like a vampire hunter.
Yeah,
like
it's gotta have an action tint to it. Sort of like a Van Helsing or Dracula 2000.
Yeah, or Blade.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Imagine if these guys do Blade before Blade comes out.
Hey, so they wouldn't help that movie.
No.
And then finally,
yes.
Everyone Loves Argyle.
Yes.
It's a huge hit.
Already, immediately.
Hasn't come out yet.
Yeah.
Matthew Vaughn set to direct a musical written by Damien Chazelle. what the fuck all around. That is a 360 what the fuck.
What do you mean?
Matthew Vaughn has not made a massive successful movie in a while.
Yep.
Damien Chazelle has never written a script for someone else.
Nope.
Matthew Vaughn's never directed a musical.
Nope.
Argyle's not out yet. Argyle cost a shitload
Damien
to make.
Chazelle has made 2 musical. Well, yeah, a musical and a musical style film, like musically infused films.
Whiplash.
Yeah.
Just But I mean, a couple things. Number one, this shows to me that that all the big production companies have faith in Matthew Vaughn and Argyle.
Yeah, that's fair.
And they don't have faith in Damien Chazelle directing anymore because he made Babylon and it lost a shitload of money.
He's in director jail, sadly.
Yes. So that is exactly... It's a what the fuck until you start thinking like, okay, they gave a bunch of money to make Argyle, and this is just Matthew Vaughn trying to get under the wire, slide under the door, and be like, I gotta get another movie set up right before this movie makes $0 fucking dollars. And Damien Chazelle trying to work his way back into relevance, popularity, now that the studios think he's poison.
Yeah, I don't know.
Frankly. Well, it's also First Man didn't make any money.
We'll also see if that happens. We'll see if this happens, ultimately.
Also true, yes.
Yeah.
If this is just say, okay, we're teaming up a director and a writer, those, a lot of the times those don't go through.
Okay. Tucker, let's look ahead to February 2024.
Some real movies here.
Some real movies. We're ramping up to the existence of real movies this year.
I say some real movies, but the 2 biggest movies of the month feel like fake movies, even though they're real movies.
That's a good point.
Argyle and Madam Web are movies you see someone watching on a Disney Channel original.
Yeah.
In a Disney Channel original movie.
Yeah.
You're like, we're watching a knockoff Spider-Man, and we're watching a spy movie with a cat.
With a cat. Also releasing is some more installments of The Chosen, which is like a biblical sort of retelling thing.
Yeah.
Pixar
this is Angel Studios, right? No,
it's someone else.
I don't know. Just let's show my ass.
Pixar is re-releasing Turning Red. We're getting Lisa Frankenstein. We're getting Bob Marley One Love. We're getting Madam Web and Argyle, as you said, Tucker. Ethan Cohen's Drive Away Dolls, and then a Demon Slayer movie as well.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, here's a fun game to play.
Yeah.
Will any of these movies make money? Look at all of these movies.
I can't imagine Lisa Frankenstein cost that much to make.
Maybe, but I also don't know if it'll be that popular. I would love it to be.
Yeah.
But it just seems like something that'll like blip in and get like $15 million and then leave.
Yeah.
I don't know what the price of Bob Marley One Love is. People like those fucking horseshit music biopics. So if it cost a low enough amount, it could make its money back. But unless Drive Away Dolls is a hit, Argyle costs too much. Madam Web's not going to be popular.
Yeah.
Turning Red, if we're going off of what Soul did, is not going to make it. But also, that doesn't need to make money. It's already been out for 2 years.
Yeah. Sorry, I just checked the camera. Sorry.
Demon Slayer will probably make money because
that'll be fine.
Movies usually do pretty well.
Yeah.
I guess The Chosen will too. But like all the actual studio releases, I don't know. I think we're in for another month of no
profitability. Well, Tucker, let's look at our box office predictions here.
Oh.
I went with a little point of difference here.
You did. Oh, man. Okay, well, there's 2 points of difference.
Okay.
Number 1, I have Argyle at number 1, and you have Madam Web at number 1. Now,
I do, indeed.
I'm going with Argyle because I think that they've been marketing this movie to absolute shit.
Yeah.
And also, frankly, it's got a lot of meme buzz online that
That's
could
true.
contribute to a big opening weekend. I'm not saying it'll contribute to it holding.
Right.
But a big opening weekend, potentially. People who don't want to see it spoiled for them who the real Agent Argyle is.
Of course. Everyone wants to know.
And I think superhero fatigue is so fucking in.
Okay.
I think it's so saturated at this point.
Yeah.
And I think people care so little about Madam Web.
Yep.
I think this movie makes no fucking money. I think this grosses and opens lower than Morbius.
Okay, Tucker.
That is an official Tucker prediction.
All right.
Which means that by my logic, you're predicting Argyle to open to like $17 million, which is not going to happen.
No. Well, I don't know.
Do you have number predictions for this
I didn't make any, but Tucker, I'll spit some off the top of my head. I'll spit some game at you off the top of my head
spit
here.
some facts.
Madam Web, what did Morbius open to?
I don't fucking know.
Let's pull it up here. So, Tucker, I'll explain to you my reasoning behind Madam Web at number 1 that I got here. I think people see Spider-Man adjacent. Okay.
But here's the thing. I don't think they do.
Okay.
Because in the trailer, that's not obvious. You see like a couple flashes of a guy that has in like a sort of a dark suit.
Well, you also see people in Spider-Man suits.
Kind of.
Yeah.
But they're not Spider-Man.
Sydney Sweeney. I see Sydney Sweeney. Tucker, look at anyone but you. Look at anyone but you.
That's true. That's just a maybe. Madam Web will hold for 2 months.
That's not what I mean. That's not what I mean.
Morbius opened to, drumroll please.
Opening weekend of $39 million.
Oh, that's pretty good.
Yeah. I'm going to say, Tucker, for Madam Web, I'm going to say 23. That feels right.
Okay, I like that. But that also means you think Argyle's going to open lower than
I think it's very tight, which is why I swapped 1 and 2. I think Argyle, I'm going to say right around, I'll say 21.
Jesus Christ.
I'm going to say very close.
Okay, we are predicting very differently for this, because I'm thinking 40 to 50 for this.
For Argyle? For Argyle?
Tanner, I want you to think back to Mean Girls opening to 26, which is higher than both of these. And Argyle has been pushed way more.
Yeah.
And it has a way bigger cast with a lot of draws. John Cena, Samuel L. Jackson, Sam Rockwell. People like these movie stars. And it's been marketed to absolute piss and mac.
Okay, Tucker.
We are going very different. And what we will know in actually just a week. We will know what happens. And a pizza bet of, I don't know, we'll do something. Whoever wins, we do something for the other guy.
Okay, sounds good. Bob Marley, One Love, I'll say 18.
Okay, well, that's pretty big for that.
Yeah. Lisa Frankenstein, let's say 12.
Okay.
And I'm gonna go. I looked up the previous Demon Slayer film that came out around the same time last year, and it made, I'll say 10 because that's what the last one made too.
Okay, yeah, and I didn't realize there was a Demon Slayer movie coming out, which is why I have Drive-Away Dolls.
Yeah,
but Drive-Away Dolls could be something that opens reasonably.
My main thing was how many theaters is Drive-Away Dolls gonna be in? Yeah, I don't know.
And also, frankly, no marketing for that movie. I mean, we saw that trailer a while ago.
There's a trailer for Drive-Away Dolls.
It was supposed to come out late last year, but
yeah.
I don't think I've seen it this calendar year.
No.
But Ethan Cohen's already got his next movie announced.
It's true, he does.
He doesn't need to worry.
No, he doesn't need
Unlike
to worry
Damien Chazelle, who's a hack. And you shouldn't work with it.
And
because Babylon sucked, right,
locked up Titan director jail.
Fuck no.
Okay.
Well, that's it?
Yeah.
The Argyle versus Madam Web rivalry.
Who will come out on top? Whoever wins, we lose.
we do lose. Unless they're both awesome.
Unless they are both awesome. Tucker, I also have to pull out a secret trap card that I have here. Madam Web opens on February 14th, so that's a 5-day weekend, baby.
Okay. That's a pretty good trap card.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. But I still don't... I'm going to be honest, I think regardless.
Okay, well, you're saying that Argyle makes 40 to 50 million.
And you think 26, I think you said?
Yeah, 20.
Over the course of 5 days.
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't know. We'll see. We'll see, folks. Very fun. Thank you for watching. We'll see you next time.